All right, so today we're going to talk about digital calipers. The difference between the digital and a regular caliper is that this one uses a little electronic screen. They often come in cases like this. If not, here's what it will look like. It will look something similar like this: pointy end here, pointy end in the back here, and long strip here. Typically, these are about 6 inches. Well, 6 inches for the actual measuring length, just a little bit longer for extra movement. But sometimes they come in 8 or 12-inch variants. Those are often way more expensive. This one was about $20, and most other ones are about $20 too, and made of the same material and etc. Some of them are a little bit cheaper that are plastic, and that costs about $10. They're pretty much just as good as long as the plastic can stay just as flat as it can as this one. But let's get started on this. So we're going to look at some buttons. The first button is on and off. This turns it on and off like so. And the other one zeros it, just like a scale. So you hit this and it'll make 0. If you can move it down here like so, you can also zero it out there. But then you have a problem, as you can see, because if you go back up here, it'll give a negative value, which may or may not be what you want. So yep, we can zero it back again to get it perfectly 0. We can also change the units of measurements from millimeters to inches and feet. So like so. Inches and fractions, not feet, my bad. Another thing too is this little knob over here. This little knob over here basically controls how fast you can move up and down here by adjusting the resistance it has on the spine over here. This little wheel, of course, let me set it back to millimeters, helps you determine how quickly you want to move. You can move it like this and that, and up and down basically. And one of the most important things we know about this is that you want to move this at a moderate rate. And a moderate rate really means as slowly as reasonably possible, because the faster you move it, the less accurate it will be. Like so. And the main reason why we have these tools is to accurately measure stuff. When we're dealing with 3D printing or designing items for to fit in certain things, or for certain things like batteries, cases for iPhones, etc., etc., etc. One of the most important things is to get an accurate measurements. And one of these ones, even these $20 ones, can get them within about 100th or 1,000th of a millimeter, which is pretty much as good as you get until you move into more expensive tools. More expensive variants of these. And it's helpful for me because I can design things like this vinyl holder, like so, and measure it, and by measuring it, I know that if there's a variance in my design or a variance in my 3D printing, I can simply adjust it in my software, or I can edit the file to be the exact size I need. A really nice example of this is when I need to design something for this box to hold my power supply in. Over here, I needed it to be a certain length, the length of this power supply, like so. And when I measured it, whoops, give me a sec. When I measured it like so, slowly but surely, I get about 113.2, give or take a millimeter, right? And because I'm able to measure it, I'm able to see that I have just the right amount of space for this. And when I design it, I made sure that the inner diameter is 113. And to measure it, well, including the outside by grabbing it, you use these two front ones right here, like so, and push in. But oftentimes, ends like these, and measure in. But oftentimes you want to measure something that's perhaps the inner diameter, right? And that's what these two little, I would call them edges on the outside are for. They're for using measurement tools like this. you would use them to get the inner diameter of an object because they push outwards. If you see very carefully, they line up where you would measure the inner diameter of objects. And when you have them perfectly zeroed, they're close together, just like this and this. And when you move them outwards, they split apart, and you can accurately measure the inner diameter of any object that you need to. And you don't need to worry about, of course, like outer calculations and stuff like that. And it's just as simple as that. And that's pretty much the basics of how someone would be able in general to use a digital caliper, or any caliper really.